Well, the lovely ukulele music says it's time for another podcast. And it is episode 63 of the Malt Travail podcast. It is what we are now, the 21st of October already. It's getting all dark and autumnal, isn't it? And spooky
Cold up
Halloween's
here,
on
very
its
cold up
way.
here.
It's all getting very spooky
Freezing.
in Bruce's house. So, good evening, gentlemen. How are we all?
Cold. It's freezing. It's cold up here tonight in York.
Be warm during the day though, Bruce.
It has been cold out there now.
How windy did you get on? Was it Sunday we're supposed to have the gales? We had a bit here, but it wasn't too bad, actually.
No, we missed it all. Apparently, about the Scottish borders, apparently it was horrific. But we missed the worst of it. It was very mild here.
Well, that was last night.
So, yeah. It's about all, yeah.
Right. Well, it's a bit of a mismatch tonight because we've had a couple of weeks off since our last podcast, which was episode 62. We've all been kind of out and about and off to different places. So, as we mentioned last time, we were trying to catch up. Last time we didn't. So we're going to do a bit of a fly around today. I think we've got Knaresborough on there. Nicholas, I think you went to Keighley, Leeds, and maybe Harrogate on Knaresborough on one of your trips. I've got one of my
Silverspoon 7.
Yeah, the Wetherspoon 7. I've got one of my little forays. I had another foray on Saturday, actually. Managed to get to about 14 pints where I kind of fell over. And actually, the good thing about Saturday was every pub was open. Way! So I had quite a nice little trip out to Kisgrove, actually. So interesting time, especially when a lot of hoorah Henrys arrived in one of the canal pubs, bellowing, Millstone, Millstone, I want Millstone. Anyway, I'm going to save that one. So as I say, it is getting very autumnal. And say also, I don't know if you guys had seen these. I saw them on an advert the other day, and they're new. So we quite like St. Austell beers. I think certainly Tribute and
Yes.
Proper Job's really nice, and they are a brewery which obviously has got a lot of heritage, but they do seem to be kind of moving with it. And apparently they've got now a craft. That's all they have. A craft kind of brewing angle now as well. What are they calling it? They call it a small batch brewery. I presume it's in the same place in St. Austell. And they've just released, again, I guess for autumn and winter, a range of Abbey beers. So they've got Cardinal Sin, which is an Abbey double, which is 7.8. They've got a Bad Habit, which is a triple. And then they've got Divine Intervention, which is an Abbey quadruple at 13%. So I had a quick look on today. At the moment, you can only get Cardinal Sin from their on sale on their online shop, and it's £2.50 a bottle, so it's not bad. We got it by 12 or 30 quid, which wasn't bad.
That's better, isn't it?
Yeah, it says you can find the other ones. You should be able to find them in some of their pubs. So, want to look out for it.
What, be 500 milliliter bottles, are they? I would think they'd be smaller, 275
maybe. Yeah,
ABV.
Yeah, I mean certainly strong.
So smaller bottles.
So, just a few pickups from our last episode where we talked a lot about lager, surprisingly, and it was quite an interesting episode. And we did talk a little bit about Carlsberg and, well, horrible Carlsberg, obviously getting rid of all our major breweries now, and the latest one being Banksy's, who they're closing down. We already discussed them, their role in Marston's demise and Tetley's demise. And I know we did mention Elephant. We mentioned Carlsberg Elephant beer. And Nick Card. We tried to think whether there's some link. Actually, when I looked into that, it wasn't to do with. I think you said it's something to do with a lost child or something. It was just that the bloke liked elephants and he liked some link. It was something to do with. I've written it down somewhere. It was some moral that's linked to elephants about being strong and faithful. And that's why he built those elephant gates at the Danish brewery. So elephant beer is still available, but not in the UK. And as always, it comes in a series. So either 7.5%, I managed to find, or 10.5% in different beers. And I think, Nick, you also mentioned Christmas beer. In fact, we've had a couple of cans of this, haven't we? We managed to get, I think you managed to get hold of some a couple of years ago. And by all accounts, they do
used to have it in Sainsbury's.
Yeah, they still make it. It's kind of a darky kind of beer with a few kind of Christmas spices in it. And they actually do it on keg as well now. And apparently, if you want some, you've got to go to Northampton. So you mentioned they've got their mega brewery in Northampton. And apparently they provide all their Carlsberg or Marston's pubs, as it'll now be, in that area. They do provide them with kegs of Christmas beer. So we might have to have a Christmas trip to Northampton to find the Carlsberg Christmas beer. And again, a little faux pas by me. We talked about Donzoko. They're a craft brewery that specialises in lager. And in fact, I think I said they might have been Edinburgh. They're not in Edinburgh. They're in Newcastle upon Tyne. And in fact, we did mention them briefly back in our episode when I think you two gave us a good rundown of the Northeast. It looks quite a nice tap, actually. It's typical industrial unit, and they have kind of a little bit of a kind of almost kind of an altar to Donzoko Lager. So I think I've got a feeling it's in Biker Bruce, but I'll have to look into that, and maybe next time you're up there, go and sort it out for us and have a quick look. Now, again, with it being October, I've spent most of my last weekends actually. This weekend was the first one free, wearing lederhosen and visiting several pubs, particularly Jows's pub. So we had a couple of really good nights. We had a night in the brewery across at Market Drayton, which is very, very good, and a probably even better night in the Stone Wharf, the Crown Wharf and Stone, which is absolutely rammed on a Saturday night. And we were sent the stage, so I just thought I'd give you gents a little bit of Oktoberfest just to get you in the mood. So the lederhosen's gone away now for a while. Hope I can get into it next year. I think I managed 7 pints that night on that particular one there. I know that because I had my little card, a green monkey, and I managed to get a free pint the week after because I'd done 8. I've actually done 8. So yeah, lots of good fun in Oktoberfest. But now we move towards Christmas, so there we go. So yeah, very good. Now I must talk about this, gents. So just keep an eye on our stats, our podcast stats. It's very exciting. In September, if you look at that, our not viewership, readership, listenership went up by 557% in the month of September. So we had 184 downloads, and this is only through Podbean. This is not the Apple and the other fields that we use, although it does get sent out to those other podcast platforms. However, there's a little bit of worrying news here in that our biggest growth seems to be in China, where 35% of our listeners now do 66 downloads in the Republic of China. So I don't know what we was talking about. The particular episode it picked out was the one about Sam Smiths. So whether there's loads of people in China who love Sam Smiths, I'm not sure. And again, it's America. America is still our biggest listenership. So we have around about 46% of our listeners are from the United States of America. We still have we still have 3 very, very whatever the word, ardent listeners in Spain. So hola and bonanitas, whatever you say in Spanish. Glad you're listening. And then we have our solid stalwarts in the UK. And Google Chrome is the most popular used by some way, actually. Google Chrome, 84% of our listeners use Google Chrome. So I said this is all Chinese, don't we? Yeah. So yeah, we maybe do some Chinese, yeah. Or there's something's going on. We might be getting a knock on the door soon and being told that we've got to, sell our soul to the Chinese state. So Nicholas is just reminding us that, as always, he's probably the only one drinking tonight. So he's just raised his glass. I'm drying out for next weekend when I'm off to North Wales. So go, Nicholas, what you drinking tonight? Another great news, son.
Yeah, Taito Alba, which is Barn Owl. In, I don't know, probably Hull or something.
Bullish language.
Yeah. A hoppy ale that knows a thing or two about subtlety. Great smacks of lemon and peach swooping from above, gliding to the back of the palate for a graceful, well-rounded aftertaste. It's a perfect pill for a proper pint, named after extraordinary encounter with a beloved barn owl. 5.6%. So one of those little cheeky deceptive ones. It's clear, but it's complex. Very nice. Yeah.
Well, I will say my best pint on Saturday of the 14 was a Storm Brewing from Macclesfield. Their Bosley Cloud was absolutely lovely. Although I did find a pub selling Timothy Taylor's Golden Best at £2.75 a pint. And I've got to say, it was very, very nice. In fact, I stayed for 3. It was that good. And again, you don't often see that, do you? Certainly this neck of the woods, you don't often see Golden Best. So very, very good. So just a couple of quick ones then about beers that are kind of on the scene. Well, not a June beer really, but we do go on a little bit about Ossett every now and then in a nice way, because I think we all actually quite like an Ossett beer. And just that one really. White Rat is now, I don't know what that is. It was first brewed in 2011. So what does that mean? Is it's 14 years old now, which is quite scary, really, isn't it? Obviously, when Ossett took over Rat Brewery, which was a micro brewery, and obviously has probably revived Ossett, hasn't it? It's certainly brought more momentum, and again, they're getting quite ubiquitous now. And certainly those White Rat beers are, and they do brew 6,000 litres a week now, at least 5 times a week. So that's quite a lot, isn't it? 140 casks. So yeah, quite a lot compared to 20 casks. And so just there, 13 years there. Thornbridge continue to pump out that Union beer, the beer that sorry, I've gone too far there. The beer that Carlsberg Marston said nobody want to drink anymore. So I think they're on to about their 5th version now. And quite cheekily they called this one the Union. So this, I think, was this a collab? It was not this one. Anyway, they are brewing this. Oh, that's right. This is supposed to be very much like the original kind of pale ale. So it's 7% bottle version of this, and a 6% cask version put through the Burton Union system. So again, I'll keep an eye out for that and see if I can get you a couple of bottles of that, perhaps for Christmas. But that looks very nice as well. It looks very, very nice. I mean, that would be a very deceptive. What is that?
So it's frozen roast
on the picture there. Am I back with you? On the picture there, it looks very nice, but at 7%, it looks very, very scary. So, okay, moving on. Brew York are closing their Brigade. I don't think I've ever been to this one. Have you? Any of you guys been to the Brigade Brew York?
No. I must admit, I'm not a huge lover of Brew York beers, to be honest. But I do get on the beer hall a little bit. But of course, I've set up in to some quite markets that's saturated. I mean, Leeds is a bonkers beer scene now, and I mean they've also moved the Mitre now at Knaresborough. Again, you look at the places you go, and you think they spread the beers to beer deserts, where Knaresborough has a cracking rail ale scene. So obviously, a lot of the beer is not too cheap, and a lot of competition there in Leeds. So possibly not too much of a surprise. We did say they're going to open a brand new venue, doesn't it? Yeah.
I read in Leeds Cameron booklet came out, I think, yesterday weekend, and it says in there they're going to move somewhere up Brigade. It's going to move three or four doors up. That's what they've heard. Yeah. So anyway, interesting. And then the other one was just, I think, just breaking. In fact, I think you guys, I'd been there not that long before, actually. Again, another kind of, we've covered it quite a lot on the podcast. This was Halewood, who took over Hawkshead Brewery a couple of years ago. Remember, they sacked all the staff that were there and said, "Oh, we're going to keep it on." Well, unfortunately, they made the decision about 3 weeks ago, to actually close the brewery and the tap and the bar out there at what's the village called where it's based? Staveley. And a massive gap, really.
In the defence, though, of course, what they're saying is that the owner of that little industrial estate, he started putting quite expensive car parking in. Yeah. So realistically, who's going to pay to park to go to a pub? So yeah, I know they're not the best company in many respects. It was promoting the brands, wasn't it? The Devon's Finger and the gins and all that were there.
Well, it's just just not the brewery, Bruce, but all those little artisan companies that are on that site.
Yeah, you have to think. I mean, it's two bakers there.
I can see that they're it's the death knell for all of them now, because very few. Yeah. I would say over 50% of the trade, people were turning to Staveley and going to Staveley for the brewery. And then the other businesses were operating from that site. They were picking up from the brewery trade. Now the brewery ain't there. I can't see anybody going to Staveley, to be honest with you. No. Even the fish and chip shop on the street, and all the other little shops that are in the area, right. So
that was
greedy landlords, it would seem, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. I mean, it's quite even from the railway station. It's a bit of a walk, wasn't it? It's about 15-minute walk from the railway station. It's not like you just jump off and
10-minute. But
10-15 minutes.
That's one of the main reasons why you got off at Staveley to walk to the brewery and back.
There was nothing else there. So... Yeah. Okay, and then just this one again, just because we'll be talking quite a lot about Yorkshire Squares, again about Tetley's, and again a couple of people, I don't know why, on social media, they would just one or two people put some pictures of Tetley's Yorkshire Squares out on the thing. So just reminding, they look a bit more clinical compared to the Sam Smith's one. But again, interesting that and quite a lot of people then started talking about it, and apparently, all the waste from Tetley's used to go up to Scotland. Used to go to Bovril, all the yeast that was captured went to Bovril, and the rest went to Scotland to make whiskey. The fermenting vessel was 4 foot deep. Imagine having a bath in Tetley's cask. Very, very nice. So then those on YouTube, there are some nice frothing Yorkshire squares there of Tetley's as it used to be in the good old days. And then again, just a shout out really, because again, Derwent Arms in Norton, which we have featured on the podcast. In fact, me and Nick have been a couple of times. I know they have kind of a rogue hand pump on the bar, which I think we did. Actually, they had landlord in there once. We walked in and they actually had landlord on. I think last time we went there, they were drinking Guinness. But again, nice to see this again. This was on X this week. They did say that every day now they are providing soup, and sausage rolls, biscuits, fruit. If anybody wants to pop in, obviously with the winter starting to come now. Bruce mentioned it's getting a bit cold up in Yorkshire. So again, I thought that was a very nice touch for a community pub. They always have been a bit of a community pub.
No, but this is to do with the lassie that's gone missing though, and they think she's possibly gone the river. So this is for people who are out searching for Victoria.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very nice. And then the other big news, of course, which I think I did share this with you. I don't know if you saw it, but Viz magazine, which again I was watching someone the other night about the bloody 80s, and again I've forgotten how old Viz actually is. It's bloody old. It's been going for 30 odd years. But yeah, a bit very much whatever the word is, they actually ran the real ale twats, who was always quite a little bit funny, although getting a bit sameish. But this month's one, they actually ran a story where again for those on YouTube, behold our local Sid Smithers hostelry. The Sydney Smithers Brewery has a strict rule banning the use of phones and other such gadgetry, and then did a whole kind of comic strip about going to this pub where the owner, who then walks in the pub, and of course sacks the landlady on site, then sacks someone, and in the end actually has to sack himself because he's got a pacemaker, which is technical. I hope they've got some good legal teams ready to bounce this off, because I mean it did cause quite a stir, I think, on X and Facebook and everything, with people saying it's obviously what they're having to go at. So very interesting. Very, very, very good.
That was somebody as well who was quite knowledge of the pubs, wasn't
it? Absolutely. Right, so I'm going to try and catch up, and I say the problem will be that the timing of this is going to be all over the place because it's such a long time since, well, not such a long time, but these two have been feeding me pictures, and they don't know what's coming up either. So it might be quite fun for them trying to remember kind of where they were. Anyway, we'll kick off in Knaresborough because I do know that Bruce claims to have found now. I did try and give you one the other week with the view of Corfu Airport. But Bruce has now infiltrated himself into the Knaresborough Working Men's Club, which apparently has one of the best views, certainly in Yorkshire, if not the UK, from a beer garden, isn't it? Which is, again, for those on YouTube, it's overlooking the railway, the very ornate railway bridge that passes over the River Nid down below in Knaresborough. So I think you've mentioned this place before, and I think you once tried to get me and Nick in there, but apparently now they're quite open out there to get people in because of Wetherspoons.
Yeah, because since Wetherspoons opened in Knaresborough, and of course, like many working clubs, financial times difficult, lost loads of customers because they're all drinking Ruddles round at Wetherspoons, so the numbers have dwindled. So now you no longer have to be a member to go into the working men's club or be affiliated, so you can just go in. And what they do is do a two-tier pricing system. So if you're not a member, I think the beer is about another 50p, between 50p and a pound more if you're not a member. But of course, what is remarkable is, I mean, apparently they own the building. It must be priceless. But if you go up the back there, you can see my wife's there. They've got this terrace with this stunning view over the river and the viaduct. I mean, it's just incredible. It's a working men's club inside. It's very dated. Make no bones about it. It really is like stuck in the 70s. But the staff are really friendly. They have 2 cast pumps, but they don't have thicks on the night we were there because they were saying they only keep on now, really. But I say, if you go to Knaresborough, you come out the railway station, go straight up. It's about 1 minute up the hill, and you've got this astonishing view of the viaduct there. And I say, beer cheaper than a pub, obviously not as cheap as Wetherspoons. But yeah, a little bit of old working class history, unlikeliest of places, really. And I say, used to make. What was astonishing was there was the brands of spirits on the wall. It's all like the jokes as though Peter Kane invented them. I say Aberdour Piper whiskey. Yeah, it's Julio's, not Julio's. That's Julio's Clarion vodka. Calvados white rum. It's just bizarre. I've never seen any of these brands anywhere before. God knows where they're getting them from. It was extraordinary. So if you go to Knaresborough, do go support them and say. It's sad to see it, because obviously, I mean, you do if you're down on the by the river, and you look up and see it. Obviously, in summer, it's packed with people on their members, obviously, doing that view. And I think I might just join that to support them, really. But I say again, a sad example of in these small towns, especially, just can't compete with Wetherspoons.
Bro, it's got not to do with the Wetherspoons. It's the members dying and they're not replacing the membership.
No, they don't have any money to anything with it, does it?
Knaresborough's got an aging population. It's got so all to do with Wetherspoons.
Well, it's also one of the...
Like you said yourself, what are they doing to generate new members? Now,
well, you need money, don't you? You need money to generate new members, don't you? That's the trouble. They've got a stunning view, but yes, I say I don't really these McDonald's, they really are destroying them. But if you go in, I think I'll join and go there. Yeah, you'll be. Wetherspoons will be like Ryanair when all the pubs when they've closed all the pubs down. The price will fall down.
If I walked in there and saw you sat there, Bruce, I'd be straight back out. No wonder got nobody members.
No, gentlemen, no. And of course, with quite a lot of affiliated clubs, you can often use your CAMRA membership, which they will accept as an affiliation. So. I know the one in Gromont, I know you can't only just flash your CAMRA card, and in fact most clubs now will let you in, won't they, if you flash your card. Did the Red Shed in Wakefield, did you have to sign in on that one, or did you guys just walk in? Because that's the other one. That's the other one you've mentioned as well.
I did ask the lady behind the bar whether they were all right. She said no, fine.
Yeah. And then, as always,
we were normal customers compared to the bloke who came in and ordered half and tipped it into a plastic bottle and disappeared straight back outside again.
He's one of them tickers, And again, as always, you did the normal blind jacks and the cross keys and various other Knaresborough delights.
About the beer of the cross keys, but I mean, good God, the way they keep their beer is astonishing, absolutely astonishing. Silver King in there, I think it's
looks like it needs topping up to me, Bruce. That pint.
It's always a predictably perfect pint. Yeah, if you're staying in Wetherspoons, you'll forget what a good pint tastes like drinking Wetherspoons all the time.
At least you get a full pint, though, Bruce.
Come on, then we're moving on. Right, Nicholas. So you spent, I think it was a Saturday, and you went for your 7 Super 7 spoons. So can you remember how you did it? And there's a couple of pictures.
Started off in Bingley. The Myrtle Grove, that was probably the most depressing spoons I've been in the all day. It's literally it's an old retail unit. It's got big open windows at the front, but that's basically, it's a funny shape as well. It's like a cross between a triangle and a 4-sided triangle, not a square. So yeah, that was probably the most depressing. But it's 2 minutes walk away from the station, and there's a little corner cafe on the corner. They're doing pot pies and lots of other pastries. There's also a butcher's across the road that didn't look like a butcher's. It had no outside livery, no outside signs or anything. Walked past, I saw this bloke, this white coat. I didn't know whether he was a vet, a dentist, or a butcher. And then I doubled back, and it was a butcher. So it must be one of those butchers that all the locals know about. So jumped back on the train, headed off to Skipton. So Skipton, we all know Skipton 1, Devonshire. That was busy. Back to Keighley. Like the one in Keighley, because obviously they've knocked in next door. So they've got an indoor-outdoor beer garden now. And then back on the train into Leeds. I thought I wouldn't bother going the one on the station in Leeds, so I went up to the Beckett's Bar. And that was not just the fact that Spoons has got people outside, but the whole area in Leeds it was just vibrating with bass and just noise and people drinking. And it was pretty horrible, to be honest with you. But I managed to get sat outside. And picture on there of these two, you would say they weren't young teenagers or young runaways, but they'd got a jug each. Jug of woo-woo and a jug of whatever else, sex on the beach, I think. So
one each.
Yeah, they're in
one each straw.
Two jugs of cocktails.
I mean, well, then are they 4-pint jugs? They were. I think they are, aren't they? Or the 2 pint? Maybe 2-pint jug. No, I think they are 4-pint jugs by the looks of them.
That is insane.
4 pints of cocktail. I mean, I think they're 2 for 18 quid, aren't they? Something like that. So it's bloody good value.
Yeah, so like that.
Oh,
so, so yeah, but just Leeds in general it's just it. I mean, you're talking about beer scene, Bruce. It's just alcoholics central. Really is. It was even worse than York on a Saturday. So I jumped back on the train and then dropped into Harrogate. Obviously, went to the one of the finest spoons in the land in the old botanical garden building there. Sat outside again, and then jumped on the train back to Knaresborough, and the Knaresborough spoons once again managed to get us outside. They always have a good range of Yorkshire local beers on in the Knaresborough spoons, and then back to York. Managed to get up to the punch bowl, and once again. Previous experience, the punch bowl in York, probably some of the worst service you'll ever find. There was 4 of them stood around the till that was for table orders. There were no table orders coming in. So to make it less obvious that we stood doing nothing, they all then walked back along the length of the bar while there was me and 2 other people waiting to get served. And then all of a sudden they'd all rush back to the till that was supposed to be doing table service, except nobody was ordering the tables, completely ignoring the 3 of us. And I'm afraid that's been the case when I've gone in there many a time. But yeah, I did Spoon Super 7. I also sneaked Timothy Taylor's in the pub on the Green in Keighley, which they basically use their tap now. But I'm afraid to say I got a plank, I got 3/3, I got Golden Bess, I got Landlord, and I got, what's their dark one? Their stout, not Ram Tam, the other one. And unfortunately, I couldn't tell the difference between Landlord and the Golden Bess. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, Golden Bess is just Landlord watered down. But even so, I was desperately hoping for that flavour, that unique flavour that we've talked about before, that we all remember from 20, 25 years ago. Sadly, it just wasn't there. Bruce argues that the beer on the Garden Square isn't as good, but it has to be, Bruce, because that's their tap. If they've got any influential people coming into the brewery, if they're going to take them for a drink anywhere, then they're going to take them there, because that's why they spent a lot of money on it. And
I'm afraid that's the Taylor's Own Hotel and Pub in Harrogate. Went on Friday night. They do fish and chips £10 on a Friday night. And I had a pint of Golden Best in there, and it was disappointing. I mean, I do, but I say that it's only nominated. But for Timothy Taylor, the bolt makers, I have to say the beer is always superb in there now. She's got the beer in absolute tip-top condition. But I think outside the bolt maker's arms, the best pint of Landlord I've come across is the Phoenix in York. But to be fair to the bolt makers, I quite like the food that you know on the Green. It's not too dear. I had a tour in the hole there recently. It was delicious. But the beer is disappointing. But I say the bolt makers, if you want anything that approaches a beer we used to drink all those years ago, I think the bolt makers is the place to go, really.
Well, I think the Old Queen's Head in Talk of the Hill, which is a former North Staffordshire pit. I've got to say, was very nice. And unfortunately, there's a pub right next door to it called the Swan. And it's slightly more prominent, and that was heaving, even though it was absolutely. I think my notes said this is a pub that's had the shite kicked out of it. It was a wonderful building. They just absolutely knocked the shite out of it inside. One massive, big, horrible room. It was like Indian restaurant like couches. What colour they were like? What would you call them? Turquoise couches. And all these miners sat there and give the boys the due. They would drink it. It was Empire or Pedigree. In fact, I had Marson Smooth. I just didn't fancy a Pedigree. And then I went next door. This fantastic old pub with Golden Best, Timothy Taylor's on, and Atlantic Pale on at $2.75 a pint. Lovely coal fire, and I was the only person in there. Most of the time I was in there. It was just me on my own and the landlady. And that was it. And I said, I can believe that pub next door is rammed full of bloody like people supping shit beer. Anyway, there we go. But I can vouch for that one. Nicholas, right? This is still you.
Sounds a bit like Sotheby's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the previous one. That was Keighley's beer garden inside outside. Okay. The one we've got up now is sat at the back of the Harrogate. So whilst the building itself is impressive, they've got quite a decent outdoor area at the back as well, which can be a little bit of a sun trap. So I tend to sit outside if I can rather than sitting inside. So yeah, that was I can't remember what I was on now. That was a dark one, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, that's right. It's a Wild Child, which is quite unusual.
Yeah, chocolate hazelnut stout that you're on. Yeah, you said it was. You have seen it for a while. Very good.
No, quite unusual to see wild child, because normally wild child, the top price, aren't they? They're a bit more expensive. So once again, I didn't really use any of my vouchers in the spoons because the beer was so cheap anyway.
And I'm presuming, was it the beer festival that had been on? Was it beer festival that week?
No,
all right,
it was.
It started.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of beers from beer festival. I must admit, I've not been with the spoons for a. Well, I think I've just been checking. Last time I was in there, I had a Phoenix beer, which was very nice. That was the one.
Yeah, they often do get quite a bit of Phoenix in. I had an interesting one last night. Adnams tea drop, it was called, and it's one they've done for the festival that incorporates Earl Grey, jasmine, and hibiscus tea. That gives it a slight pink coloration to the pint, and it was interesting. It was very refreshing. So yeah, that was tea drop. It was called Adnams.
Which reminds me, I don't know why, but it reminds me about Adnams that a proper job of bringing out a 0.5% one for Christmas. So they've just, because I mean, obviously Ghost Ship is a very nice beer, but apparently proper job, and I imagine they'll push that quite hard. So it's not alcohol free, it's 0.5, but I guess that means you could have
be good, that
3 or 4 bottles of that, couldn't you, potentially, before you were getting near the limit. Right, James, well, I think we've caught up with yourself, so I've got a little bit of a longer one, so I'm going to suggest we have a little break, and we shall come back in part 2, and I'll tell you some of the delights of some pubs that I didn't even know existed, despite my 30-odd years living in the potteries. So a little excitement, although there are some disappointments in there as well. So we'll have a break, and we'll come back in part 2.
Excellent.